Welcome to the channel Tribe. In this session of the virtual meetup, we are having Kalpana Kukreja discussing revolutionize your test automation with low-code platforms.
Okay. Welcome everyone to this 15th virtual meetup with Monica and Kalpana. Monica is senior consultant at ThoughtWorks, who will speak on test strategy, while Kalpana is a test consultant at Rapid Circle. She'll speak on low-code automation tools. Before I move forward, huge shout out to our annual sponsor, BrowserStack. They are our exclusive sponsor for all our community events and premium sponsor for all our conferences. Let me introduce Kalpana Kukreja to you. Kalpana Kukreja is a senior consultant at Rapid Circle, and she's a big time explorer and loves to try her hands on various testing domains and testing tools. She has had a good hold on functional automation, API, and accessibility testing, and she believes in building correct strategies in order to add value to the quality testing. So let me just invite Kalpana on stage now so that she can then take over and power you with knowledge. Hi, Kalpana, you're on stage.
Hi, Ashutosh. Thank you for having me. And yes, Ashutosh has already introduced me. So I think we could just begin with my topic. Today I'm going to talk about how we can revolutionize test automation using low-code tools. Since we all know that test automation is always a hot topic in every tester's life. So let's just see what is new in that field. Not new per se, but something that hasn't got much of the attention lately, but it still exists. So let's just dive into that. So yeah, since I guess every tester has begun their career with the testing, test automation is always on the top of their mind. Every company, every testing team, they have always discussions going on and around about that test automation. We have been following various traditional approaches for over a decade now, and then there are some new ways of doing things that are coming up in the market, which may ease out the process for many of us. So today's discussion is all about that. Ashutosh has already introduced me, but there is still a brief about me. So yes, I'm a test consultant. I have been working on APIs, functional mobile testing, automation testing for quite a long time now. And along with that, I am also an accessibility tester practitioner. I have been working on to accessibility testing since last year. And this is again another very less visited area of testing, but this is equally important one. And then I'm an instructor at creating a beginner-friendly test automation courses at Catalan Academy. I design and build courses, especially keeping in mind for such audience or such people who are looking for the transitioning into role from manual to automation testers, and they really do not know how to get started. The process might be overwhelming from them, so these courses are extremely beginner friendly. I'm also a literary person with an MA in English literature. I'm keen of writing blogs and poetries and short stories. So apart from my 9 to 5 job, once I log off from my system, I dive into the books of literature. I'm also a content writer. I have written the website content for different brands and blogs for different startups. And then at last, I'm the published co-author. I have my content published into 3 of the anthologies so now. So this has been the journey so far. And apart from this, I continue to grow and dive much into what's coming next for me. So when we talk about the test automation, we do know that test automation is the process where we use different tools or softwares to test our functionalities rather than doing it manually. Test automation is believed to serve different benefits over the time, out of which some of them have listed here. One is the faster and more frequent testing. Test automation enables testing to be performed very quickly and frequently compared to a manual testing, which can speed up the frequency of releases. And any team, any company, whether it's a big IT giant or a small startup, each one of them, they want their releases, their functions to get released faster. Everybody is forcing into faster releases, especially when we consider the agile work of doing things. Then we also have the another benefit it provides, it's improved accuracy. Test automation, it minimizes the possibilities of human errors. We could run the same test again and again to get more accurate process. It is more cost effective. Initially the setup might cost a bit, but later, in terms of the number of efforts, the amount of effort that manual testers spend on to testing some of the regression suites or any sort of integration testing, that effort can be reduced, and it in turns benefit the cost of the project. Then we again have the greater test coverage, continuous testing, and better collaboration. There are some more other benefits of test automation. So this was about the test automation, and now how do we define that, how low code test automation is different from the test automation? So, the former CEO at GitHub once had said that the future of coding is no coding at all. And even in terms of development, we are seeing that developers are also moving to more effective ways of coding something. If it is being available, if it is being it is if it is there for us to resolve some problem, then we should be using it. So, when we talk about low code test automation, it is a method of creating automation tests with minimum programming or the coding skills. It is extremely helpful in case where people or the testing team, they do not have much of the technical knowledge in terms of creating uh, the scripts, or the in terms of creating programming scripts using any of the programming languages like Java or Python or JavaScript, TypeScript. So it is extremely helpful in that cases, especially in small teams where teams might not have much of the resources or the budget to hire the people the um, with the skills, with the programming skill set. Then these sort of tools help even non-technical people, whether that is business owners or the product owner or any tester with no or very minimum coding experience. They can take the help of low code test automation and still build the automation tests. It usually involves the use of graphical interfaces to create the test script. They have predefined or the built-in modules like the drag and drop method or the visual modeling that can be assembled like the building blocks to create the test cases. Many actions or many what we can say yeah, many actions or many methods that used to that needs or that require, let's say, 9-10 lines of code to perform something. Many such tools, they have built-in libraries that have such keywords which are pre-built and we can directly use it. And these are very much similar to human language, so it is easier to understand them. Then it also offers various reporting and analytical features, allowing users to monitor the test results and identify issues and the bottleneck of testing process. So there is no much of the hassle in finding the right plugins for the reporting and to brainstorm that how we are going to understand which step has failed, how do we attach the screenshots into the reporting or into the failed test cases. This low code test tools, they have covered it for all of us. And yeah, we have already covered that this makes testing more accessible for non-technical team members. Now, while we talk about the benefits of low-code test automation, so as it refers to the use of software platforms that allows to create the automation test scripts using GUI or drag and drop approach without actually needing to write the code. When I say it does not require to write the code, it is a low code and not like 100% codeless. So you do have to script something, but not like the traditional ways of doing things. So the benefits are to increase, they offer you increased efficiency as it allows testers to create and run scripts more quickly, because if you're performing some, let's say, a login test that requires almost 10 lines of code, you could do the same test using low code platform within just 2 lines of code. So that saves your time, and that allows you to create the test very quickly and easily. And this can significantly reduce time and effort while creating the test. You also get improved accuracy. Tests that are created are executed using the pre-built modules and workflows. So there are very less chances of human errors while creating such tests. They are extremely cost effective. Low code test automation reduces the need for highly skilled developers, which could cost heavily to the pockets of our teams or the project. So, and they make sure that it is a more low cost solution. Some more benefits are the greater test coverage, since it becomes easier to create and run the tests across different platforms and environments, ensuring the greater test coverage. It reduces the risk of errors and bugs. It is extremely easy to use because it does not require much of a technical knowledge or much of a technical expertise. It is very user friendly, and it allows you to do the better collaboration between the different stakeholders, developers, testers, and even the non-technical people in the team that are like business analysts or the product owners. Some of the key features of test automation tools are its visual interface that gives you the list of components that you can directly use into your testing without bothering much about how to write a particular method and worrying about the syntactical errors. And especially when there are different programming languages being used, testers often tend to be confused at which programming language they should learn in order to start with the test automation. So the visual interfaces makes it very easy for each one of us to proceed with it. Then there are pre-built components. So pre-built components are nothing but some of the keywords, some of the wrappers that are being available, or if we need to do some third-party integrations or connect your applications with some database or API integrations, then that could be easily done because all the steps, all the actions that are already predefined in the pre-built components. Then another feature is, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, the next feature is a visual debugging. It offers you a visual debugging tools that allows you to actually identify on which step your test is failing on in a visual way, so that you don't have to really dive into the code and understand where it has failed, and then again map that those lines of code with your GUI of your system to understand what step is failing. So it already has a visual ways of debugging. This will make it easier to identify and fix the problems. Then the integrations are also the major important thing, because there are not much of a standalone application these days. Each application is either dependent or is integrated with some of the external integrations, whether it's some of the IDE or even the CI/CD pipelines or the databases. So these integrations are made extremely easier with those low-code test automation tools. The scalability is an important key feature these tools provide, which can be easily scaled to meet the needs of larger testing projects, as its visual interface make it easier to add new test cases and modify the existing ones. Even its maintenance is easy. I sort of missed to cover that point onto the slides. Maintenance is easy, and some of you who have already worked on to the traditional approaches of test automation, you might know that when we need to create a folder structure when we try to build a test suite, or when we try to build the test cases for, let's say, regression or integration. We need to create the folder structure, and then we have to identify that which component is being used where, and if we are going to make some changes into this particular script, where it all reflects. So tracking of all these gets really difficult in terms of traditional solutions. So low code test automation tools provide you all already designed framework that makes all of this process easy. There is a predefined folder structure, there's predefined, they have links to what component is being used where. So once you make change at one place, it gets automatically reflected at every place where a particular component is being used. So now when we talk about traditional versus the low code test automation, we all know, right? A test automation is not new. It is not going anywhere. It is not going anywhere even as the codeless tools becomes more prominent. That's because automation helps brands to become more prominent. It helps brands to move faster and meet the ever moving target of building and testing software that is both high in quality and able to be released to the end users quickly. So these knock on the traditional test automation software. It's not going to lapse the use of them, but or it's not going to take a toll onto the tester's job, but rather it is going to be more time, cost, and resource intensive process to build, and in turn, help the testers to do the same job with more effective manner. Because if you are doing it manually, you could easily enhance your job by at least 3 to 5 times by using a low code testing tool. So this is a brief comparison between two of them. There are certain set of features which traditional test automation provides better than compared to a low cost test automation. As traditional tools, they involve creating and maintaining of custom test scripts for each application and scenarios, whereas low-code tools, in that you need to use the pre-built component. So it could be seen as limitation of low-code tools till some extent, where there is no much scale for the customizability compared to the traditional ones. The traditional tools require regular updates and maintenance to keep up with the changes in the application being tested. And but whereas in low code tools, the updates and maintenance, they are often automated, and it requires like minimum intervention. If we use the release approach, uh, each the components that are being impacted in each release, you just have to make changes to that. So the updates are automatically accommodated here. Traditional tools may require your more extensive training and knowledge transfer to new team members, but for low-code tools, the learning curve is extremely easy, and there is no need of having an extensive coding experience and people who are highly skilled into the programming. Traditional tools could be more flexible and adaptable for different testing scenarios, like performance or security testing. You could channelize, you could make updates to traditional tools based on to your requirements, but that could be another limitation to low code testing tool. It has some limitations in terms of customization and flexibility. So I have gone through one example. I could not have the demo because there are like widely different tools being used in the market, and I did not want to restrict the demo to some of the tool because it's a huge market and there's a lot to explore depending upon the needs of the team, needs of the project. But I could just create one simple example of using traditional approach and using the low code approach. This is a very basic test script for verifying the page title. This and to verify a page title, I had to write this 7-8 lines of code to understand that I have landed onto the exact page. So I was using this for almost 2 years back, I was using this traditional approach, and to verify the page title, I used to write 7-8 lines of code just to verify that I have navigated to the correct page. And if I have to write the same function using a low code test tool, the next slide will show you how do you perform the same function using a low code testing tool. So this is it. This is just the 2 lines of code where even the first line says navigate to one of the URL, and next there is a verified title, and you just give the what is the expected page title in the as a part of the argument. So this verified title is the already built-in component which covers my 8 lines of code, which is first get the current title of the page, then store it into the variable, and then compare, then get the expected title, then store it into another variable, and then compare both the titles, and then throw the output. All of this step, it is already covered into just one wrapper, that is verified title. So uh, this eases my job really. So instead of going through this and writing 7-8 lines of code which might throw some error, which might throw some syntactical human error, here I have very less chances of encountering such errors, and it really makes my job easier in terms of time and cost saving as well. Now the question might arise that when and where one should use for the low code test automation, because if we look, I think over the decade there are some tools, some frameworks, or some platforms that are being constantly used in companies, in different teams, whether it's big IT MNCs or any product based companies. There are some 1 or 2 tools that are being used for over and over years. But when we talk about low code, then what would be the ideal scenarios where one could look for the low code test automation? So if you are looking, or you are working in a team or in an organization that need to rapidly develop and maintain the automation tests, then you should definitely look for low code tools. If you are the one who believe or who are following the agile development, then definitely low code test automation helps your team to adapt the agile testing process and allow them to test quickly and validate the changes as they are being developed. If you are looking to do some sort of POC and need to create some sort of prototype in order to understand what framework suits best for your application that is being built, then again, low code tools should be your go to way, because you get to see that for your particular tech stack or for particular requirement, if you need to use some data driven framework, or you got to use some record and playback features, and how compatible they are with your system, with your applications, then in terms of creating those prototypes and POCs, low code tools are extremely helpful. If your team is the one who believes into CI/CD type of testing, then low code tools can be easily integrated with any sort of CI/CD tool, and it ensures that new code releases are thoroughly tested before the deployment. So the hassle of integrating the testing tool or integrating a test pipeline with the CI/CD tools, it gets very minimized. It gets almost the effort is almost to zero while you try to integrate your testing with any sort of CI/CD tools. And then, especially when you have the non-technical members in your team, if especially in small companies or in small teams where there are new people or very young people that are coming in, and the people do not have more of the technical knowledge, then in that case, low code test automation tools can help you, because it is very easy for business or analysts and the product owners that even they can contribute into creating and executing tests, avoiding the need for dedicated automation engineers. So when you are thinking for implementing a low code automation into your organization, what should be the best practices that you should be following? Firstly, you got to define your testing goals. You need to identify what tests do you need to conduct, what sort of testing do you need to conduct, whether you are testing for a website, whether you are testing for the APIs or a mobile testing, and in what way you need to identify or what test cases you need to automate. Because yes, 100% test automation is a good goal. Of course, it is great to have the goal of 100% automation, but you have to start from identifying and from defining what you actually need to test, because it's a very long process. When you're starting from zero, when you're starting from automating your first test case, starting from there till you reach to your 100% test automation, it's a very long journey. So firstly, you got to define your testing goals. Then you choose the right tool. As I said, there are a number of tools that are available in the market already. Different tools provide you different set of features. So what tool should be the best suited for your application? What tool is compatible with the tech stack that your application is being built on? All these factors are dependent on choosing the right tool. You need to consider all of them before finding out the right fit for you. And at the same time, if you think that there are two or three top choices on your mind, you can anytime conduct a POC for the same and then choose the right one. Then you have to start small and grow. As I already said, having the goal for 100% automation is always great, but before reaching that, you need to start with building or automating your first test script. So start small, uh, divide the complex scenarios into the smaller parts, start building with the small scripts, and then proceed slower. Improve the visibility with readable scripts. Yes, make sure you are building or you are writing the scripts that are easily readable with anyone in the team. And um, yeah, and you need to categorize the test suite or the test cases into different suites or different folders based on to their intent. If you're building for regression, make sure you are building all the regression scripts at once, and then test how your testing tool is supporting or how your testing tool is executing those scripts. If you want to add anything to that, if you want to make any more customization to that, then do it at the earliest stage. And yeah, then use the version control. We have already discussed it, because using the version control will help you to adapt your changes into mm, yeah, to adapt your changes into your scripts automatically. If there are any changes for a particular component in some of the version, then it gets or it gets adapted to those scripts automatically without you going or diving into the scripts and reading each step and then identifying where you need to make the changes. And then implement the continuous testing. Continuous testing is anyways a go-to way for each testing team. It offers the number of advantages for each of the testing team, and it allows you to identify the bugs at the earliest stage and deliver the quality features well in time. But when we talk about all the good things or all the benefits and the features a low code tool offers, it also comes with some of the limitations and the challenges. Now, what are they? Let's see those. So, when it enables you to do things at a faster rate and it provides you the more ease, I could say, it also has some limitations over the customization that we already that we already saw, because they have predefined modules or predefined templates which you could use to code your testing. There are no much of the um, customization that you can do in such sort of tools. Then it has the limited testing capabilities. Low-code tools may not support all types of testing, such as performance testing or the security testing. You may need to use the additional tools, or you may need to cover those parts manually. It has some reduced flexibility to some extent. So low-code tools are seen to be less flexible than code-based traditional automation tools. They may not support complex testing scenarios. If you found some workaround, they may, but in that case, you might need to follow some of the scripting, because when I have come across many such complex scenarios which do not have a pre-built component in a low code tool, but then you have to build those components yourself. So some of the tools, they provide you the flexibility where you could create custom wrappers or custom keywords for you to handle those complex scenarios, but in that case you need that programming expertise. So this could be, uh, if you know a workaround, then this is doable, but at speaking of at a high level or in generic terms, it have lesser flexibility compared to the traditional tools. Then there are some integration challenges for the tools that are not being defined by the proprietor. Because if there are existing integration plugins or existing integration components that are available in some of the tool, that solely depends on the proprietor what they are offering you. If you need anything apart from those pre-built components, then it could be challenging to some extent. Usually all such tools, they provide the very common and generic integration, whether it's related to the reportings or analysis or CI/CD, or even the integration with the GitHub or Jira, Slack. They do provide such sort of integrations, but if you are looking for something else, then that could be a little challenging for you. So while looking at, when we have discussed so much things about the low code test automation, based on what is what features do they offer, what benefits do they have, what are the challenges, what are the limitations, how one should implement the low code testing tool, this could be a question that test automations are striving into the industry for more than a decade now. And when we are talking about low code automation, what is its future, or what is its impact onto testing? So as we discussed, right, as Chris Von Strath has said, that future of coding is no coding at all. So QA testing is a paramount technology that ensures the error-free software in an age where even a single bug or even a small bug can cost you a humongous dollars. The fact is, the need for automation coders will not diminish. People or the companies or the teams, they do need to automate things in order to ease their job, not to replace their job. So the need of automation testers is not going anywhere. That is going to stay in the market, and the companies will still come, the industries will still come and uh, ask for the automation testers to ease out their job. Instead, this is only going to have this is only going to help the manual testers with to do their job with more efficiency and boost their outcome. And the speed with which it is growing implies that the technology will enable testing in a complete codeless package. Today, it leverages intelligent technologies like AI to support even a non-technical employees to create user-friendly interactive app, website, and automation sequences. And that's the easy road to success with the low-code automation. And that is within the reach. So, when we talk about the automation, we know things needs to be automated to deliver better, not to replace our job. So it's either you are the one that creates the automation, or you are getting automated. It's the test automation is having like number of challenges. It's not going anywhere. It is going to stay the same for quite a long amount of time now, and the people would be the same. It's just a matter of doing the hard work and the smart work. So you need to choose whether you automate the things or somebody else would come and they will automate you. So yeah, this was all about the test automation using the with the help of low code testing tools. Uh, if you have any questions regarding that, I'm happy to answer those.
There are two questions in the chat here. I think you can take them quickly. One of them is about from Karthik Hussain. Can you suggest some good low code tools for POC and giving demo to client?
Uh, yes, sure. So they are there. As I said, that it totally depends on to the what your need of testing is. If you are building any sort of web automation, or you are working onto web app, or you are working onto the API, but I'll just list out a few, and then you can go and check what serves your need. Apply Tools is one of them. Then there is Catalan Studio could help you. Then test team, that is from Tricentis. It is another low code tool, and there's one more, XLQ, which has recently got my attention. It seems they use even AI based AI based visual components, so that could be useful for you. But you just need to go and check what features each of them offers and which of them is really best suited for your product, and then you can build a POC around it. It should be an easy way.
The next question is from Chintala about does low code test automation require Selenium?
No, no. Many of loco tools, what they have done, because based on the flexibility that Selenium engine offers, they have integrated Selenium within the platform itself. So you won't need to learn Selenium for that. You can just address the functions that or the flexibility that Selenium offers, and you could easily use it into the low code platform. But you won't need to learn Selenium explicitly for it.
Got it. The next question is from Murali, who's asking, can you suggest any unified low code automation tool that supports web API and desktop apps?
Uh, Two of them on which I have personally worked on. One is XLQ and Catalan. It provides you the uh, test automation for API, desktop, web, and even the mobile testing, all within the one tool.
A lot of these low code tools are behind paywalls, right? How do we pick up skills to build with them? We can easily download a tool like Cypress and learn from web, but these low code tools are a little difficult to learn because they don't have any like a free thing where we can easily learn this. How do we do this?
So many of the tools, they do have community supports. Especially, I understand your question that it might have come from even the community support is not much stronger when these tools are very new. But some of the tools, they do have their forums, they do have their academy where you can go and learn each module. They do build videos and the courses. Speaking of which, I think I could put in some words for that. I myself have been building courses around Catalan, and I do pick up one module each day and or one module for each course, and I post, and then those courses are being available for people on the Catalan Academy itself. So they have their learning forum for the people who are new to Catalan and they are going to use it. But I'm sure there are community supports for each of the tools, and of course even the documentation for loco tools is really good. When you go and check for some of the feature, they do have some really good documentation which really solves your problem. And it's always the case that I believe that somebody else has already solved the problem that you are facing right now. You just need to search for it.
Thanks, Kalpana. I think this is the last question which we can take for today. The rest of them are repeated. Currently, there are many tools like JS tools like Cypress, Playwright, which are buzzing. Do you think low-code tool provides us with all the features which a JS-based tools provide?
Um, See, no tool can do everything, right? But each tool is good at something. So when you are using tools like Cypress and Playwright, you definitely know the intent behind using those tools. You definitely know why you are using Cypress, what is your need for testing that is being resolved using Cypress. And it is possible that there is an alternative for the same. uh, it might not give you the same amount of features that Cypress provide. It might give you some more features, or it might solve your need, but it might not be more flexible as Playwright, because Playwright is being open source tool. It gives you a wide range of flexibility. But again, I'll say it really depends on to what sort of problem you are trying to solve. And yeah, each tool is good at something. They do have some sort of USP to offer you guys.
This is an interesting question from Asneem. Organizations mostly prefer open source tools. So can you please share some low-code tools that are open source, if there are any?
uh, I really doubt the low code tools are open source. I have not come across any such tool. There are some freeware tools, but for open source, I really doubt. By freeware tool, I mean they give you some sort of they give you access to certain features for free, and then if you need some more features, then you need to take the licensed one. But I'm sorry, I do not think there exists one, and if it exists, then I do not have the visibility for the same.
Got it. I think that's it, Kalpana. We've covered most of the questions. So thank you for this session, Kalpana. It was wonderful. And a lot of
uh,
people who are navigating through the LinkedIn feeds of low-code tools every day, it must be a good starting point to them, and so that they can figure out how do they want to deep dive further. And
yep. even
thank you, everyone.
i even
Yeah.
I enjoyed being here, chatting with all of you on Saturday. And thank you so much for take out the time and tuning in onto the Saturday morning. Feel free to connect with me over the LinkedIn. And if you have any more questions related to low code test automation, I would be happy to answer. You could even scan this QR code and connect with me on LinkedIn directly. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. We hope that you liked both the sessions and they could add value and they could satisfy the objective which you had set out before ending this session. Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
thank you, Kalpana, once again.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.